we even wrote it at the top, just mark not available. So if you don't know of any, that's fine.
It strikes me as some of this may be a little more geographic in nature. Would you also like perhaps to have a map to go with a future land use map?
Well, we do have Scott County's rural one, and we do have Davenport's future land use map. If you do have a future land use map, we'll take it.
Well, and bi-state has a combined
They do.
jurisdictional future land use map. I think that would be good to show.
And
And as far as how much development occurs, that's, you know, driven by the private sector. And,
right.
when I make presentations, you know, to classrooms, I generally say, we don't tell you that you have to develop, we just tell you whether it's appropriate or whether you can, but the speed and the amount is strictly a matter for the market to determine.
That's very true. And we would, and you'll see in the Montgomery County plan, we did talk about future land use maps as well. So that we had all of those included. So that will be a part of it, but we didn't know if there was anything above the future land use map that we needed to know about. Like if there was something big happening that we don't know about. If you have any personal activity reports to turn in, we'll take those. We're like I've said before, they're for local match for the grant. It's just your time. They take a tally and they have it and if they take a look at what your salary is and they actually use that in the plan saying that your city donated your time to be here to do the plan. So that's how we take into account local match without actually having to use physical dollars towards the plan. It's manpower. So if you have those, please turn them in, and if you need more copies, we have a few. So we can give you those, or we can email it to you as well.
And the email copies are a formatted Excel program, so
Yeah.
it's easy to
Yeah.
enter them and it calculates the totals both across and down.
And a reminder that you need to take into account both your time doing the plan work and non-plan related time.
Right, but you can
Yes.
enter all your other time under a
As
broad
related,
heading and
yeah.
just itemize the plan. So if you say 2 hours of jurisdictional planning and then, you know, 6 hours other office duties or whatever you want to call your duties.
Yeah, and then you get a
And you need a
signature.
supervisor's signature.
You do need a supervisor's signature. And those that are elected officials don't need to fill it out.
And so the second item on our homework list here, draft list of mitigation actions for your communities.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about, coming up with mitigation activities, and that's a kind of wish list of everything we think our community can do to minimize all these hazards. And we probably want to pay particular attention to our top 12.
Right. And we'll double check to make sure those are addressed. But yeah, if you could kind of consciously make sure you're looking at the top 12 as well, that would be helpful.
And then we want those as action steps or as objectives or
As actions.
As actions.
Yeah.
And then we can decide
We can decide if we want to do objectives. Yeah. And then for the most part, we finalize the hazard scores and priorities, but if there is something within your community that you want to change an individual, take a look at we will discuss your individual scores in your section. So within your section of your hazard scores, if you want to move things around, or you want to completely rescore if you think you screwed it up somehow, you can do that. Just give them back to us so that we can redo the actual calculation part of it. So, with that being said,
Anybody have any questions?
Or,
And I think the objectives that we want to come up with, like Laura said, be a little bit blue sky, and we'll try and throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks, so to speak, and then we can, as a group, we'll prioritize them and decide which ones we want to include and how we want to include them as either being objectives or action steps, and then also to determine what goals they are intended to meet or address.
yeah, so next meeting will be, you bring them together, we take a look at them, we'll compile them. It's a big brainstorming session, so you bring your material to the table and we take a look at it.
So then, Laura, are we gonna have a big sheets of paper here where everybody can list our ideas and then,
Yeah.
okay?
And if you want to give them to me in advance, I can prep and we can put them on sheets too, if you want. You don't have to.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
I did have a quick question for you. I was looking at the calendar and I want to make sure it's okay with everybody. The April meeting on the 25th is the day after Easter, and I want to know if that's okay with everybody. And then we'll probably we'll have to look at this a little bit more, but we'll probably be moving the June 6th meeting to the 13th, which is the following Monday. I have a conflict in my schedule that came up, so that's the public meeting for review of the draft project. But so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But
Well, let's hope this is the worst weather that we have to contend with for any of our meetings, and I appreciate everyone making the effort to come out. I'm glad I didn't whip out.
I really do appreciate you all coming. I know the weather's not nice.
Well, go ahead, you can go first.
No, please.
I was just wondering, who assigns these categories of mitigation actions? Who will be giving them these PMPPs? Do you just, will you
Well,
folks?
what Megan and I will probably do is sit down and do a first run through and then let everybody take a look to make sure they agree with us. If while they're drafting their actions, brainstorming, they can assign it too, and then we can talk about it, make sure it fits in properly with it.
And then those will be assigned to the 40 overall as well, the overall plan that goes to the state?
Yes.
Now, can you tell me when the overall plan goes in, so you guys have your individual ones that you work on to work best for your own communities, cities. What purpose then is the overall plan? Say there was a disaster. Does the state, the federal government look to that plan for, okay, this is what this region wants to do in this case? So are they actually referring back to your overall plan that you submit?
They're gonna look at both the overall plan and your individual plan.
Okay, so it's really important then, go
Yeah,
ahead.
the
I'm sorry.
overall plan is kind of like where everyone will be cooperating together on action. So there'll be like intergovernmental cooperation on some of them. Education materials, they can share them, that kind of thing. But it will depend specifically on which jurisdiction is applying for the grant and what the grant's being. If there's I'm trying to think of an example of something that would be, if Bettendorf needs work on their levee, like if it broke because of flooding or something like that, they would apply through the state to FEMA for funding to fix their levee. They would want to have a mitigation action specifically within the Bettendorf section of their plan that references the fact that they want funding, or that they want to keep their levy up to date. Yeah.
So then in this overall plan, where you've got your ratings of whether it's going to be regulations or any of these measures. So in that overall plan, we'll all be living with those decisions that are made then, right? I mean, you're assigning, you're making a determination on